Hey everybody, we're We Are Scientists and class is dismissed. It's time for recess with Spinelli.
You are listening to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Saratoga Springs, New York, Hoxton FM, London, England, and the New York State Music Blog. And today we are here with the Brooklyn Rockers. We are scientists. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
So I understand this is the final leg, or actually the final show to be specific, of your tour for Helter Skelter. Thoughts so far as the whole year has progressed since the album released back in April?
Actually, the album is called Helter Seltzer. It's a very clever spin.
Hence the bubbles. I don't know why. That's a dyslexic thing.
It subverts your expectation. That's what makes it a genius album title.
Most people, when they start to read the title, you get to Helter S, and your brain says, I know what's coming. Skelter. You're wrong, though. It's actually a very valuable life lesson. It's just our title is a life lesson for people. And we've been hearing terrific feedback from people all over the world.
So actually, speaking of seltzer, I was speaking to the tour manager earlier, and he said that I'm not sure if you guys all have, but an affinity for seltzer whenever it's in the band rooms.
We have an affinity for it wherever it may be. Just because we go really crazy when it's in the band room doesn't mean that when it's not placed directly, within arm's reach, we don't strive for it.
And in fact, we've been known to go to significant distances to acquire seltzer. We visited the Polar Seltzer headquarters in Worcester, Massachusetts, which I think was at least an hour or two detour from our tour path at the time. Well worth it. In retrospect, I would have gone 10 hours out of my way.
It was on day one of a pretty long U.S. tour, and we pretty much filled all available space in the van with cases of seltzer. Probably cost us more in extra gas than buying that much seltzer, over time would have. It felt good to see all that seltzer in one place, and that place being our place.
Did you ever think of working out a sponsorship with them?
I mean, essentially we did, in the sense that they gave us as much free seltzer as we could carry. In return, whenever someone puts a microphone near us, we talk about delicious Polar Seltzer.
So a seltzer factory, as far as a tour goes, is there anything different or specific about that really made you excited?
It is actually a family business that was started by two brothers. Cool in that respect. The other good thing about the factory is you get to see all of the weird little flavors that you've never, because they make an incredible, they do 4 new flavors every season. Sometimes they repeat from previous, like the fall flavors will be similar every year, but they regularly introduce new flavors, and it's easy to miss them if you don't visit the factory and get the lowdown.
I can only hope that your listeners have 100th the interest in seltzer that we do. Otherwise, this interview might be going nowhere.
They didn't before; they sure do now.
What's your favorite seltzer flavor?
Ruby red grapefruit is kind of a top tier. Any grapefruit flavored, pamplemousse.
Yeah.
To give the name of a competitor. I won't name the brand though, but any grapefruit would be very high.
Grapefruit flavor really seems to survive the translation to 0-calorie pure effervescence, whereas some other flavors just taste a little light when they're in 0-cal seltzer format. You understand.
So did it ever cross your minds to potentially release a Helter Seltzer We Are Scientists for the merchandise table?
We talked about this, and I think the one impediment was that the turnaround on developing a flavor and getting it to market would have put it out significantly after we were done with the record.
It also seems like there probably has to be some sort of legal oversight on selling consumable product, right? Are you allowed to just sell anything that you've created to publicly for people to eat or drink?
So besides the seltzer detour, what were some of the other highlights of the year so far?
We went to some new places we had never been to before. Bratislava always comes to mind. It's in Eastern Europe. It's adjacent to Czech Republic. It's this capital of Slovakia, which was formerly, half of Czechoslovakia. We're always game to go places we haven't been. I mean, one of the best things about the job is getting to see new cities. So we were easy to convince, but yeah, that part of the world is actually starting to get more and more sort of pop music touring happening. I think promoters are just finding footing, and an audience is there, and so it's getting more common. There are a couple of really big festivals in that area now in the summer. So in this case, we actually did have some time to walk around in Bratislava and Budapest and even Czech.
But I mean, when you say that, it's remarkable in that we got like an hour and a half to walk around. Yeah,
that's true. What we've been doing to try to, as a veteran band, we've started to see some of the angles, and what we've been doing is chipping away at our set time. So now we're down to about 15 minutes that we actually play during the show, and that gives us, we used to play an hour and a half, so that we've reclaimed 75 minutes that we can use exploring the town.
Yeah, listeners should know that if you get a full, hour and a half set out of We Are Scientists, that means we don't give a darn about your lousy town.
We're choosing to be on stage instead.
If we rip you off with a 15-minute set, that's a compliment. We'd love to explore your town.
So then when you're in a country where their native language is not English, do they want to hear more of the music and less of the chatter?
That's always our assumption. But anytime, though, that we play a show and avoid talking altogether, we get complaints afterward. Even complaints in like very halting broken English. And we don't really understand. It's hard to imagine wanting, your favorite Japanese band to spend a bunch of time chattering between songs. But what we hear, I guess, from some fans in that situation is that they like seeing that we're having fun, that we're not just up there running through the songs. And I can see that would have some value, like just giving the impression that you're there, that that your head is in that moment. And so I guess that's what the value can be.
When We Are Scientists were started back in 1999, 2000, around there. Now this started as a college effort initially, right?
Just post-college. Battling the boredom of the real world project of ours.
I think we thought we would play songs in our play mostly Weezer covers and several originals in our basement, and that would have been fine too, and we still do that.
Yeah. when we get the chance.
So when did it start becoming more of a reality as a potential career for you guys, though?
We were doing it very aggressively as a hobby, and it was like kind of the most fun thing in our lives. But yeah, I don't think none of us quit our jobs until we were signed.
Well, is there something that you're going to be taking away as far as a lesson for your next album or your next work coming up, maybe from the last album to Helter Seltzer?
I learned a lesson a couple of years ago that Keith hasn't learned yet, and I'm using learn in the sense of like accepted, right. Which is that he has to start doing rap verses. At least one rap verse.
And when you say I haven't learned it, I'm just not a very good rapper yet, is what you mean. Yeah. I'm trying. Yeah. God, do I try. I mean, right now I'm still leaning pretty hard on the easy single syllable rhymes. Yeah. Red and bed. Head kind of thing. Yes, exactly. His is in every single freestyle of mine.
So to leave our listeners off with, what would be your final punchlines?
Our test for getting an agent, and again, Mike Morey, who books both We and Fantagram, who we're playing with tonight, have passed this test, which is we put our agent in a room and we turn off all the lights, and then we just make, not even terribly scary noises, slightly menacing, like just like, we're like we knock around,
scratchings, miscellaneous scratchings.
And if you make it 3 minutes in that room, you're our agent.
That's right.
and also if you have any like business, if you have aspirations to be an agent,
You have to want to be an agent too. You have to have the desire. But to give you an idea of how brave Mike is, we got to, we sort of ratchet up the tension with the sound effects. We start piping in wild animal noises. With Mike, it wasn't until we released a live tiger into the room that he left.
He protested.
He
Yeah.
protested,
You
yeah.
ever notice that moss is like vertical? It's like horizontal grass. That like grass that points more horizontally than vertically. You ever notice that? What is the deal?
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
you.
man.
You have been listening to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Saratoga Springs, New York, Hoxton FM, London, England, and the New York State Music Blog. And we have been speaking with We Are Scientists at the very end of their tour for Helter Seltzer.
How could this take so long? Spinelli.